Some stories aren't about love that lasts forever. Some are about love that almost did. This is Almost Love. Stories about feelings we never forgot. And endings we never expected. Listen carefully. Because tonight's story might feel a little too familiar. The Train That Never Came Back. The rain started just before midnight. Soft at first. Then heavier, tapping gently against the glass roof of the old train station. Daniel sat alone on a wooden bench, his fingers wrapped around a paper cup of coffee that had already gone cold. Platform 4. He hadn't been here in 7 years. Not since the night she left. He looked at the old clock above the tracks. 11:57 p.m. 3 minutes until the train would arrive. The same train. The same platform. The same time. A strange promise people make when they're young and believe life will wait for them. His phone vibrated in his pocket. A message from his sister. Did you really go there tonight? Daniel stared at the screen for a moment, then locked the phone without answering. Because he didn't know how to explain something even he barely understood. Maybe he wasn't waiting for a train. Maybe he was waiting for a memory. 7 years earlier. This same station had been full of noise. Suitcases rolling across the floor. Announcements echoing through the hall. People hugging goodbye. And Emma. She stood in front of him holding a small brown suitcase. Her hair moved gently in the evening wind. You could come with me, she said quietly. Daniel looked down at the tracks. I can't. Emma sighed. You mean you won't? The difference between those two words felt like a wall neither of them knew how to climb. Daniel had just started his job at an architecture firm. It was everything he had worked for. Everything he had promised himself he would never risk. And Emma. Emma had received an opportunity in another city. A chance to study art in Paris. 6 months. Maybe a year. Long distance doesn't work, Daniel said. Her eyes softened. Not when people stop trying. The loudspeaker announced the train's arrival. Emma looked at him one last time. Then promise me something. Daniel frowned slightly. What? She smiled, the kind of sad smile people use when they already know the ending. If we ever regret this, meet me here again. He blinked. When? 7 years. Daniel laughed nervously. 7 years. Platform 4. Midnight. That's crazy. Emma stepped closer. Maybe. Then she kissed him, slowly, softly, like someone pressing pause on a moment they didn't want to end. When she pulled away, her eyes were shining. Goodbye, Daniel. The train arrived. The doors opened. And just like that, Emma stepped inside. The doors closed. The train pulled away. And Daniel told himself something he would repeat for years. It was the right decision. Back at the station. 11:59 p.m. Daniel's heart started beating faster. He stood up. The platform was almost empty. Just a man reading a newspaper, and a woman with headphones waiting near the stairs. He felt ridiculous. 7 years. 7 years of life, mistakes, jobs, relationships. And he was standing here because of a promise made in his 20s. The sound of an approaching train echoed through the tunnel. Headlights appeared in the distance. Daniel felt something strange in his chest. Hope. And fear. The train slowed as it entered the station. Metal wheels screeching softly against the rails. The doors opened. Passengers stepped out. A couple arguing quietly. A tired businessman. A girl carrying a guitar. Daniel scanned every face. His heartbeat grew heavier. One by one the passengers walked past him. But none of them were Emma. The platform slowly became quiet again. The train doors closed. And then, just before the train began moving again, a voice behind him said softly, "Daniel?" He froze. Slowly, he turned around. And there she was. Emma stood near the stairs, holding a sketchbook against her chest. Her hair was shorter now. But her eyes were exactly the same. For a moment neither of them spoke. 7 years of silence between them. Finally Daniel laughed nervously. "You're late." Emma smiled. "You're still bad at telling jokes." They both stood there, unsure what to do next. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "So. Paris?" Emma nodded. "Paris. Rome. Barcelona. That sounds incredible." It was. A pause. "And you?" she asked. "Architecture firm. Long hours. Too much coffee." She tilted her head slightly. "Are you happy?" Daniel opened his mouth. Then closed it again. "I thought I would be." Emma looked at the empty tracks. "You know. I almost didn't come tonight." "Why?" "Because I was afraid you wouldn't." Daniel exhaled slowly. "I almost didn't come either." She laughed quietly. "Good thing we're both terrible at letting go." The rain outside the station grew heavier. Daniel looked at her. "Do you ever think about that night?" Emma didn't hesitate. "More than I should." He nodded. "Me too." Another silence. But this one felt different. Warmer. Emma stepped closer. "Do you regret it?" she asked softly. Daniel thought about the last 7 years. The promotions. The apartment. The relationships that never felt quite right. Then he looked at the woman standing in front of him. "Yes." Emma swallowed. "Me too." The station clock changed to 12:07 a.m. 7 years and 7 minutes since their promise. Daniel smiled gently. "So, what happens now?" Emma looked at him with a spark in her eyes. "Well." She held up 2 train tickets. "One goes north. The other goes south." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "And?" Emma smiled. "I thought maybe, this time we choose together." For the first time in years. Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not regret. Not fear. Possibility. He took the tickets from her hand. Looked at them. Then back at her. And laughed. "You know what the craziest part is?" "What?" 7 years ago I thought my life would fall apart if I got on that train." Emma tilted her head. "And now?" Daniel smiled. "Now I think my life might finally begin." The announcement for the next train echoed through the station. Emma held out her hand. "Ready?" Daniel looked at it for a moment. Then took it. And together. They walked toward the platform. Not knowing where the train would go. Only knowing that this time, they weren't letting the doors close between them again. If this story felt familiar, maybe you've loved almost, too. I'll see you next time. After Dark. Blackheart.